Welcome back to more Guild Wars 2. Now, it's time to move on from Brisbane, Wildlands. Welcome to Metrica Providence, the Asura starting area. Initially, when I was recording this footage, as you'll be able to see, I was not sure exactly how I was going to handle this. Now, the only reason we're heading this way is because it looked like there is a way to continue forward with possibly getting Laura's help rather than Drahern. But that's at the other end of the map, which means we'll have to clear this map out anyway. I was not sure whether or not I should start it from the beginning, which is the other end of the map, or from here, the level 15 area. As you can see, I was literally not sure what to do. I'm thinking right now, should I run? Should I not? Well, there's a quest over there, and you know what? Let's just clear it backwards. Which is exactly what we're doing.
When the reactor suffered an arcane core criticality, it released material infused with chaos magic all over the area. We have a team trying to contain the disaster, but the otherwise pliable Skrit in the area can't seem to keep their paws off that chaotic material. Stationed in the anthill is a crew trying to monitor and study the environmental impact of the chaotic incursion.
Now, the only problem with it is, quite frankly, that we'll be not seeing a lot of scouts and what the scouts have to say, which is quite unfortunate. But we will be encountering a lot of dynamic events, actually. You'll also see I'm using two swords, and that's because they actually look pretty cool. The one I picked off of one of the guys in the forest we started in, and the other one was just a random drop. It's an Asura sword, which is the one on the left, while the one on the right looks a lot more cool. But these guys, they weren't very hard. Unfortunately, I don't get to show a lot of the other things you could do to increase your help with the area. But there are other things such as Chaos Shards, which will summon an enemy, and detoxify researchers, which is basically revive them. But I was busy helping out with the dynamic event in the middle of it all when the quest completed, but that is actually pretty typical for this particular area. Wasn't much. For some odd reason, when you're using dual swords, your area of swing is much greater than when using the greatsword, and so I'm kind of torn between the two-handed swords or the other one. I think I'm gonna end up eventually sticking with just the greatsword, but diversifying it up isn't bad, especially considering things die actually faster when using the twin swords. But outside the reactor is an area that actually looks fairly safe.
Something new every day.
If you ignore the giant worms, that is. Now, there's a waypoint down here and to the leftish. As you can see, I was kind of like, well, those were good, but is it better than the greatsword? It's kind of one of those weird things. So are random invisible walls, but, you know, those happen too. As you can see, another dynamic event has occurred. This one, however, someone has decided to help the poor NPCs out, because otherwise these guys will die very easily. Yeah, he was, a bit tough. Yeah, that's actually the second time I believe he knocked me down. Yeah, he was not very nice. But we're gonna actually stumble across the most annoying point of interest. And that's because there's only one way to get to this point of interest we're gonna get to. Not this next one, but the one after. And you'll see. You'll see. This actually caused me a severe amount of rage when I was running this with my Asura alt. It's counterintuitive, but since you have no other way of accessing it, you kind of run out of other options. So your choice is either to do it like this, or it's just not going to happen. This transfer gate, this Asura gate inside of here, takes you to the other point of interest. And oh, was I mad. Because let me pull up the map. We're on the other side of the map. And this is the only way to get that point of interest. Oh, was I pissed. Oh, was I angry. Because it's counterintuitive. You can get real close to the area we're at here, but not close enough to actually trigger the point of interest right there. Oh, was I pissed. Oh, when I figured it out, I was like, why? Because this was the one point of interest where I had no clue what I was doing. Absolutely none. So eventually I got to this side of the map, saw that, and I was like, they forced me to do it. They forced me to do something different, which it really was. But swapping in for the rifle, because we do need a distance weapon. We only have two abilities that'll be can even be considered range. The anthill mentioned is just up ahead, and I'm not sure if it's a bug that's going on, but both times I've done this quest, it's had a bug going through.
Can't wait to see it all.
One of the things you can do is getting rid of chaos material, which turn you into a rabbit generally. It's not like you can't kill the guys when you're a rabbit. You really can, but for some odd reason that one spawned too, but the bug I'm referring to does not revolve around them. It revolves around talking to these contaminated script.
Different.
If you take too long, it will just kick you out of the conversation.
You bring me something? Hiya.
So either you have to be extremely fast, or it's not going to work. Now the last thing you can do to help is to kill rats, which spawns more chaos beasts. It's not like the guys are particularly hard or anything, but there's only so much you can do, I guess. This time it turned me into a chicken, which is the first time I've ever been turned into a chicken.
I am full of adrenaline.
You appear to be more vulnerable as a chicken, but that's a chicken for you, I guess. Now, the next quests are actually across the river from where we began, but we'll be heading there after we uncover this little area, which has absolutely nothing in it. I mean, it's literally just a fishing area. Yes, we're going to be heading towards that inquest area we discovered. And, well, I wanted to get to the Greyfern waypoint, but that was just not happening. I do help out with this particular dynamic event again, but it's not particularly interesting. You just kill all the golems. A lot of golems, actually. And continue along here. Now, those towers actually do have a use. Not now, but in one of the later things. In one of the later quests. Actually, it'll be the next one we end up doing. But these mosquitoes will actually try and attack us. And I'm not sure why they made the mosquitoes this big. Because if they were mosquitoes that size in any form of reality, they would be very much extinct. It's just they're huge. But I lift these in here to show how quickly I can kill something. I mean, it doesn't take much with these two swords to just be able to murder everything. Shoot, they don't even have to be directly in front of me. That's just the power of a warrior. Anyway, well, what we have to do is activate these little arenas. Not arenas, areas. These little mini conductive towers, because this is basically energy transmission, how the Asura do it. And apparently they've gotten deactivated. The other thing you can do is this, when these elementals appear, which are actually triggered, people trigger them, you just murder them. They're not particularly hard, but...
Vacate these premises!
They're not particularly hard at all, as you would expect. Now, I have actually no idea what all those golems are doing marching in formation, but apparently they decided to march. Just doing some quick looting and trying to figure out where to go next, because there's only a couple of things we can actually do. Yes, the Inquest will come by periodically and try and do stuff to the power generation in the area. Which, one of the more interesting things is that the Inquest are a legitimate division within the Asura population. They're treated like any of the other colleges, like the College of Dynamics or Statics. It's weird, because they do stupid stuff like that. Now, as you saw, the last thing you can do is interrupt those things, those statics. I'm not sure what the game actually describes. You probably saw it on screen faster than I did. But yeah, you can interfere with those, cause elementals to appear. They're not particularly hard. Unless you were playing an engineer like I was, in which case, why would you play an engineer? It's hard to solo as an engineer. Fun, but very hard. Now, the next quest is up where we were, near that annoying point of interest. And it's only there because, well, we needed something up there. And it shows how much of the, how dumb the Inquest are. Because they have labs everywhere, like all the Asura divisions do. But they're well known for being raiders and stealers and copyright infringers, and no one does anything about them. It's just a bit ridiculous. Just a few swings to bring down a grub. I mean, this is with supposedly my level adjustment going on here. I've left in an entire dynamic event coming up just to show how... I'm not sure if this is just the warrior being me being a powerful warrior with all my buffs out, except for my ultimate, or what. But this entire dynamic event is taken down by yours truly. And it's a giant bomb in the shape of a golem going to attack the power facilities.
I am full of adrenaline.
Okay, I didn't leave the entire thing in, but I literally took down that golem, and it's spawning supporting members with no help. and taking almost no damage. There's nothing else I can say about that. But in here, what we have to do is, well, kill some Inquest. There's other things we can do in here which are quite interesting. Just gonna let that guy... I was gonna let him go, but his buddy came out. We can do things with golem parts and take down lab equipment. Literally, we're hacking them up with swords or axes or whatever you're using. And they explode because... explosions, I guess. And there's also occasionally oozes if you take out certain things. Now, there are two other things we can do here that'll be helpful. And this actually depends probably on your profession, but as well as your race. As a Sylvari, I have absolutely no idea how golems work. I push random buttons.
Charging.
When I did this as an Asura, I could tell it what I wanted it to do. It was rather interesting. Now we can also revive the occasional researcher, which is here. They're not everywhere. And as far as I know, that's actually the only one I've ever found that's a crew researcher in this entire facility. But one more person to take out, and we'll have completed this quest. Anyway, heading away from that, I'm going to be taking a fairly minor diversion inside the facility up ahead. And I don't think there's no waypoint there, and I don't even think there's a point of interest in there. Not that I could find, anyway. And, well, we got map completion. So there isn't a point of interest in there. There was just a dynamic event I helped out on, and we lost on, sadly enough. But we'll see you guys... No, not yet. It's not in time to leave. What am I talking about? Silly me. We're going to be continuing on. That's what we're doing. We're getting close, though. We're going to be heading for that waypoint. The last waypoint. In the castle. And then we'll be calling it. There's spiders around here. You could crush them, their eggs, everything. And I apologize for opening up the Black Lion Market. It was very... It's an old habit of mine. I'm used to checking. But we'll see you guys round the other side next time. This is Stomping Llama, signing out.
You better stand.